and welcome along. It's the penultimate round of the 2022 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and the heat has been turned up in the chase to be crowned champion as we arrive at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. Local hero Hakim Danish arrives leading the cup chase, but by only 7 points as a raucous home crowd look to cheer the 15-year-old on to glory. But his nearest rival Shinya Ozawa is pumped up and ready to bounce back after his bid to take the cup crown stuttered in Thailand. Starting from pole position will be Carter Thompson, with our championship rivals up against it from row number 2 of the grid. It's Jack Appleyard and Fran Wild here to talk you through all 13 laps of Asia Talent Cup action from Sepang. So hello and welcome along to a hot, a sticky, a sweaty Sepang as we prepare for the penultimate round of action in 2022 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup action. Jack Appleyard and Fran Wild here to talk you through all of the action. 13 laps coming up. It's going to be blink and you miss it stuff. And with the air temperature now 33 degrees, humidity well above 80% as well, is going to pose a real challenge for these stars of the future from Asia as they try to take the next steps on the road to MotoGP. And Fran, it seems fitting that we're here talking through some Asia Talent Cup action on the same weekends that Agura, of course formerly of this parish, has his first match point and tries to become the Moto2 World Champion. What an example, what an inspiration for these guys that are about to do battle.
Very much so. There's so much to go out there in what you just said. I think you used the word parish, which is absolutely incredible. And then, of course, yeah, it's a big weekend for one of the alumni from the ATC, Agura, leading that Moto2 World Championship. And it's a big weekend for these guys as well as we head into another 50 points in play here at Sepang. 25 today, 25 tomorrow. We could potentially get a match point then, but we'll have to see how it pans out. And like you said, once again, it's Carter Thompson on pole and the top 2 in the championship on row 2 this weekend. So yeah, I don't know, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? And how are you feeling? Have you cooled down a little bit now we've arrived to the aircon? Yeah,
I'm all good now. I'm all good. I'm even better having seen the sunglasses on that gentleman to the left. What a pair of specs they are. And what a pair of shirts they are as well.
Took me a second to realise what that was.
Where do I get one? I want one now.
That's incredible. Sadly not one of the ATC alumni, but great support there from the Fabio Superfans.
Well, me and you are going to get ourselves our own special Agura edition then, of course.
I look forward to that. I very much look forward to that.
As we bang the drum of the Asia Talent Cup former stars fighting it out at the front in Moto3 and Moto2. What a season it has been for so many of them. The likes of Ayuma Sasaki taking his first Grand Prix victory, absolutely flying this weekend, and Agura as well, currently leading the Moto2 World Championship. But we, of course, will be focusing on what is about to go down in the Asia Talent Cup this year, because this man, the Malaysian Hakim Danish, is currently leading the way. Only just though, 7 points splitting him and Japan's Shinya Ozawa.
Yeah, it's not much, is it? 7 points, but then it can be a big difference when, you know, it comes down to it, that count at the end of the year. But yeah, there's not too much pressure yet. Like we said, there's still 100 points in play because we've got another round after this one in Lombok alongside Superbikes. So that home glory, though, I'm sure Hakim Danish will want a taste of it. Obviously, already a multiple race winner this year. He won 1 in Buriram, the 2 in Lombok that we've already run alongside MotoGP. But then a bit of a tougher race 2 at Buriram as well. And it was Veda Ega Pratama who came out on top, and with quite a performance, disappearing at the front of the field. So I'm sure in Danisha's mind, especially these guys so eager to get racing again, it'll feel like it's been a while since he's been on the top step. So we can expect, I think, full attack from Danish on home turf, even though maybe maybe he does need to be a little bit mindful of that points lead.
Potentially. We shall see. 100 points still on offer. Let us remind you, we just saw Shinya Ozawa there, second in the World Championship. Just 2 victories to his name so far, including, importantly, one on home soil at Japan. So Danish will have seen that, and I'm sure felt a little bit of jealousy, hoping to have a little bit of his own home glory this weekend. His title charge took a little bit of a stutter last time out in Thailand, could only manage a 6th place and a 4th place finish. It's the first time this year that Ozawa has failed to visit the podium at least once in our rounds.
That's good, actually, considering you coming in for the first time this season. That's a good stat that I've not noticed. He was a full house of podiums. But yeah, him and Eamon Adaki as well started the season super strong in Qatar, and we thought the 2 Japanese rookies may be fighting both for the cup this season. Adaki at the moment has gone a little bit off the boil over the last couple of rounds, so he'll want to get back in it here, but again, a bit of a tougher qualifying for him. But Ozawa, 1 round off the podium, maybe it's just bury around, maybe he just wasn't feeling the vibe. Seems to be back in it a little bit more this weekend. 2nd row start, not the ultimate, but certainly, yeah, within a very close postcode of Danish.
We just saw Faris Putra there of Malaysia as well, one of the youngest riders on the grid. 14 years of age is Faris, and comes from just a stone's throw away from here as well. Shah Alam, of course, a name, a town that will be very familiar to you MotoGP anoraks out there. We used to go there.
Anoraks? Anoraks?
Yeah, anoraks, someone who is a big fan.
No, I know what it means. I just love it. I just enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah, so Shah Alam, only a stone's throw away. Of course, we used to go to the circuit there ahead of coming to this incredible facility at Sepang. Here we go then, it's race time in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. And starting from pole is Australia's Carter Thompson ahead of Veda Aga Pratama, our victor last time out in Thailand, and Japan's Gun Mie. It's a blockbuster row 2 with our 2 championship contenders. Hakim Danish starting 4th, Shinya Ozawa starting 6th, with Rei Wakamatsu sandwiched in between them.
It is indeed, and then we've got Hafi, Putra and Adaki on row 3 ahead of Rizwanto, Lakhan and Fadilla in 12th place. Al Sahuti maybe a little bit out of position. Longlio and Trihardika then down to 15th place, and then bringing up the rear we've got Izdihar, Puetisan, Swain, Quintal and Nicholas, who has a penalty, the Australian, number 12. Crossed the track when he was told not to by a marshal. Not a big crime, but in the ATC especially, they've got to learn the lesson when they have made a bit of a mistake, so it's very apologetic, but he has been given a 3-place penalty.
So that's why he starts at the back of the grid. There's Kevin Quintal, the Australian who hails from... Oh, no, sorry.
Nicholas.
There we go. Marionis Nicholas, of course, hailing from...
Greek-Australian.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to work that one out from looking at the name. Of course, the second, shall we say, important Greek Australian in the MotoGP pack.
So you're counting Arthur and Leah as one, are you?
Well, they're a tag team.
Yeah, so here we go then, warm-up lap. Doesn't seem like we're going to get some rain today, quite as we have done on a couple of days since we arrived in Malaysia. Obviously the afternoon is when it often strikes in this part of the world, but so far seems okay. It's very humid, like we said, 33 degrees outside as well, but so far so dry for these guys, and they're certainly not shy on the warm-up lap, are they? Having a good little mini battle on the way around.
No, absolutely, and this is going to be a real test for these guys, most of them between 14 to 16 years of age, to do 13 laps in these conditions around such a physically demanding and technical circuit is going to be very, very difficult. And hopefully it's not the case, but we could well see a race of attrition where those guys that keep their powder dry nice and early, maybe just keep some energy in reserve, are able to have a little bit more, a bit of an edge on everyone else in the final 5 laps or so. Potentially those with a little bit more experience could be the ones that come out on top.
We will have to wait and see, won't we? But yeah, bit of a slipstream city opportunity as well here at Sepang, so that could help those guys stay in the fight, but we'll have to see. We've seen some interesting races so far this season. We've seen that great escape for Veda Ega Pratama last time out. We've seen a few group battles. We've seen smaller group battles. And yeah, we've also seen likes of Hamad Al-Sahuti especially really gaining late race pace and making a late charge for the podium. It can change a lot, and especially, although it doesn't sound like the longest race in the world, 13 laps, it's quite a long lap here at Sepang. There's a lot to it. And yeah, it can change fairly quickly once someone gets in the groove. So we'll have to see. But there are your championship standings. 7 points, like you said, between Danish and Azawa, with Mie now 37 back after speed all season, but a couple of times he's fluffed it a little bit, so he'll be hoping for some good points finishes this weekend, because it's far from over. Like we said, 100 points still in play.
For these standard Moto3 machines as well is going to be a very, very long run down to the opening corner.
It really will, won't it? It'll feel like maybe, yeah, a couple of minutes on the gas down there waiting to brake.
So getting a good jump is going to be absolutely vital here, because if you don't carry some momentum off the start line, you could quite easily drop 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 or 9 places. So these guys will be full concentration here as they look up at the lights at the Sepang International Circuit. 100 points on offer, 4 rounds remain in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and we are underway. Carter Thompson from pole position, getting a magnificent start. Just look at the Australian go. Dynamite out of the blocks, and he is without doubt going to take the whole shot into the opening corner. Further behind, it's Indonesia's Veda Ega Pratama, who's holding on to second early on the brakes though, and that's given an opportunity to Gun Mie to slip through into second. Is that Shinya Azawa there in 5th? It is. Meanwhile, Hakim Danish, good start from row 2 of the grid. The championship leader slots through into second, I think. Yes, there he is. Great start for him, ahead of Gun Mie.
Yeah, after him, maybe not the qualifying he would have wanted, exactly the start he would have wanted for Danish to get straight further forward into that fight right at the front and into the race lead now as well, the number 13. Nicely done, but yeah, Thompson, great start for him. But yeah, so far so good for some of our key players, and Danish now in the lead then on home turf.
Impressive stuff from Danish there to get it stopped at turn 4. He carried so much corner speed through there. Brilliant stuff from the young Malaysian. And looking at the free practice times as well, speaking to a couple of people in the Asia Talent Cup paddock, they said just watch out for this guy in race form. They say his pace throughout free practice was pretty alarming, and look, already we're only halfway round the opening lap and he's already starting to splinter the group behind. Yeah,
a little bit. It's full gas early on, it seems, so far, but we'll have to see what happens when we've gone down one of the straights here at Sepang and made Constantina back up again. But if they do have significantly more in hand around the rest of the lap, there is definitely a chance for these guys to try and break away. But at the moment then, we've got some familiar faces near the front, but also good solid start so far from Rei Wakamatsu, the number 2 there in 4th place, and is Azawa then the first on the chase, trying to make sure they can't pull away.
Impressive stuff through this 3rd sector, arguably the most technical on the track, on the side of the tyre for so long, just playing with the throttle through 10, 11, 12, 13, and that's where he's been able to pull out an advantage. Meanwhile, who's that? The number 15 going high, wide and handsome. That's Rekat Padilla, using all sorts of track limits and a little bit more there. He's lucky to have stayed on there. That could have been really nasty.
Was. That was a bit of an extra motocross adventure, wasn't it? So back on and not too much harm done other than the time lost. But yeah, I'm sure a bit of a heart rate spike as well for him. So Danish then, let's see what this advantage is like once they get back down into the braking zone, because the Malaysians got a few meters in hand there, but you can see already we've got 4, we've got that duo then of Veda Ega Pratama there and Azawa, and then a bit of a gap back to the rest of the pack already. And I think Danish then, that was quite safely done, and he's still well in the lead.
Absolutely, it was just under half a second across the line, probably just a little bit less than that now, but still a comfortable enough advantage for Danish after that opening lap. Meanwhile, where is his championship rival Shinya Azawa struggling to make progress? He's made none so far, in fact. 6th place at the moment, the number 21, you can see him just in the back of your picture. He's got the number 7 of who's that? The number 7 of Veda Ega Pratama, of course, just in front of him. And given what Pratama was able to do, we're expecting him to be in this lead group. Let's not rule them out just yet. 12 laps remaining, but already Pratama and Azawa, 2 of arguably the favourites for this race. are in a little bit of trouble here. They're over a second adrift, and Pratama pushing hard. He makes a mistake there through turn 6.
Yeah, a bit wide. Let's see if the number 7 hangs on to that now. But yeah, interesting so far. It's not a very ATC race, is it? We've got our race leader out front, bit of a gap, 3, bit of a gap, 2, and then a real sizable gap now back to whoever that is just leading that. Is it Hafi, I think, and Fadilla? So yeah, let's see, because it's still early days, 12 laps to go. It's a very long lap. It's 2.5 minutes nearly around here for these guys on these machines. But so far, absolutely perfectly executed home glory for Danish. Just kept cool after a bit of a tougher qualifying. Good race lead, kept it despite that slipstream. And let's see then what Mie, Thompson and Wakamatsu can do. Wakamatsu's still hanging in there at the moment.
Yeah, good stuff this from Danish so far. Once again able to pull out a quarter of a second.
Good look there.
Cardinal sin. Hakim,
yeah,
come
I
on.
don't like that either.
You're a second clear. Just keep your head down, keep chipping away. Literally down the back straight as well. In about 20 seconds, mate, you're going to see on your pit board what your advantage is. Oh, he nearly took the front then, trying to get it stopped into the final corner. Well, looking over his shoulder, did that just take his attention away for a split second?
Thing, isn't it?
And then he's made a costly error there into the final corner. He still sets the fastest lap of the race despite that. But goodness gracious me, I hope we can see a replay of that, because I think that was very, very close to the front end folding and his race being over.
Yeah, it really did seem it, didn't it? But Danish then gathers it up and keeps that race lead, and lost all that advantage he'd managed to build throughout that lap, but still the number 13 holds firm at the front. And that final corner is designed, it's cambered to give you different ways through it. If you want to use different lines through there, there's a few different ways to do it where you can, you know, make it work for you, but that's not including almost ending up on the floor, which yeah, a little bit of a heart stopper I think there for Danish, but no harm done, and he's still in that race lead at the moment.
There goes Carter Thompson. He's just managed to squeeze his way through on Gun Mie to sit second. Wakamatsu there in 4th at the moment as well, and we said that it was going to have to take a lot of effort in these opening laps for both Pratama and Ozawa to get into contention. Well, they've drifted backwards across the line, now 2 seconds away from this fight for second place. You can see them in the background. Pretty much game gone already, unless something remarkable happens for both Pratama and Ozawa, and that will be music to the ears of Danish at the front of this race. We saw the live championship graphic come up. As things stand, he's going to stretch his championship lead out to over 20 points with 3 rounds remaining. Yeah,
it is pretty sizable, isn't it? And when it is obviously 6th place, I think, yeah, 6th place that Ozawa's in at the moment, that makes a big difference in the points when your key rival is set to win the race as it stands. So yeah, it could be a really good day at the office for Hakim Danish, not only that race win, but in terms of the points as well. These guys though, they're doing well in that they're not getting in each other's way too much. They're not costing each other time having a big battle. However, they're not particularly cutting that gap down either. So if someone does feel they've got a little bit more pace, maybe Gun Mie does now, they do need to strike and then look to put that hammer down pretty sharpish, I think.
Yeah, far from it. It's getting to the danger zone now, I'm sure. The alarm bells will be ringing in the minds of Mie, Thompson and Wakamatsu, because Hakim Danish, as things stand, is just romping clear here. Another fastest lap of the race. A second clear, a 2:18.536, half a second better than anybody else out on track. So far so good for the Malaysian.
Yep, it is so far so good, and no dramas that time around either. Nailed that final corner pretty well, did the number 13, so all good. But you can see that gap then. He did do the fastest lap last time around, but he did lose a couple of tenths on the main straight, but still just over a second clear at the moment, and there's no way they're going to be able to cut that down just by slipstreaming, so they're gonna have to, I can't speak English, get their heads down and try and do something about that. Although they are doing that, to be fair. They're responding specifically to me, of course, and another couple of tenths come off.
Yeah, Mie at the front of this group at the moment, as you said, managed to chip away a couple of tenths to Danish at the front. The trio working in tandem at the moment, but I'm not sure how long that will last. Having watched Asia Talent Cup races previously, it's not normally the order of the day for riders to work together.
It's not so much. The mythical seat tap for no reason is my favourite. But yeah, so, and you've commentated before, I think. We commentated on one from Barcelona, did we not, at some point?
Yes, we did.
We recorded one.
We did back in 2019. Good memory, Fran.
Those memes, those basement memes. But yeah, so, well, they've lost another 10th there then, but at least Gunmie has been able to stay at the front of this little train. And like we said, they're going to need to stay in tandem and work together if they are going to cut that gap down. So it's going okay for the game plan of this trio at the moment, but we'll have to see. What's Danish got in hand as well? Is he pushing to the maximum at the moment? Has he pulled out a gap that makes him feel comfortable enough to just focus on himself and not worry too much? It's gone up a lot there. You just pointed at the screen. Yeah, the graphics. Half a second there nearly that he's just pulled out.
Incredible. In that third sector, we did pinpoint it. It's the most technical one on the track, the one that takes arguably the most skill out of these riders. Depends what your riding style is like. If you're good on the brakes, you can make up so much time in this final sector, but if you're fast flowing, which is sometimes what these standard Moto3 machines require, then you're going to be able to take a lot of time out of your rivals, and that's what Danish is doing at the moment. Further back, here is some battle for 7th, I believe, just behind Pratama and Ozawa. There's Nicholas, who's come through from the back of the grid. Look at that, 12
That's impressive,
places.
that, isn't it?
Seriously impressive from the Greek Australian.
He's had some of his best results as well when he's had an absolute nightmare qualifying. So I don't know, must just unlock a little extra there, but good stuff from him then to make amends from that grid penalty and a tougher qualifying. And yeah, right in that battle then, that's the group behind Pratama and Ozawa, who are now the other way around according to our timing screen, and it's Pratama just behind the Japanese rider now. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, you can see that gap's got smaller though as we looked at that battle for 7th place. It looks like these guys have cut a bit of time out of Danisha's lead again. Yeah, thanks to the efforts of Gunmie there. The battle behind between Wakamatsu and Thompson just allowed him to edge a little bit further. So you're going to say Toprak then? Who, of course, will be in action this weekend, actually, in Argentina. So much going on. MotoGP, World Superbike, Asia Talent Cup. It's a feast of motorcycles for you. It is indeed. And no other motorsport events at all, of course. Absolutely. Two wheels only. Meanwhile, at the front, it's still Danish leading the way. Looking comfortable at the moment is the Malaysian. No such issues or fears of the hometown hero tag laying too heavy on his shoulders. He's managing it pretty well at the moment. Yeah, recovered from that earlier bobble. I think looks pretty calm and collected now. Carter Thompson looking a little bit more hurried, I think, now. Maybe thinking Mie's not quite shown the pace that he promised when he first got to the front of this trio. But I don't know, does the Australian have more? We didn't see him able to do too much about Danish when he was the lead rider of these three. But maybe, you know, as the laps tick down, he's feeling a little bit more comfortable, and it looks like he is going to go for it. So let's see if the number 6 then can take over in second. And let's see what he's got if he can. So bails out of that one then. Probably could have got that done. Last lap, I think that was on. But let's see if the number 6 then is going to try and attack into turn 1. Well, full of confidence is Carter Thompson after a first podium of the season last time out in our last race in Thailand. Third that time around behind Gunmie and Veda Aga-Patama. So he does know how to manage. He does now, yeah. Who's that's gone down? It's Danish! It is! It's a championship leader! Can you believe it? He was cruising towards home victory, 1.5 seconds clear, and the man that leads the World Championship has crashed out on home soil. I cannot believe it. We were saying how calm and collected he looked, and then it's all gone wrong then for the race leader, Hakim Danish, and it's these guys now then battling for the lead. Hopefully we'll see that the Malaysian is up and okay. Let's wait for some updates on him. But yeah, crashed out then number 13, and like we said, he was in that lead with a bit of a buffer as well. So hopefully he is okay, and once we know more on him, we'll let you know, of course. But this now is the battle for the lead then, and it's Carter Thompson who is in the driving seat at the moment. But the dynamics completely changed for these guys as well after that crash, hasn't it? Oh, incredible. They'll have seen him gone down, of course, as well as Gunmie. He's receiving medical attention. That's good to see. He is moving as well, which we're delighted to see. Here is a replay of what happened. He's going to get spat over the top. Oh, what a shame for Hakim Danish. Yeah, it really is, isn't it? And it'd be a bit of a surprise as well. There you can see he's moving there and trying to roll over a bit. I'm sure we'll see what we get in terms of medical updates, but nothing else. It's winding to have that kind of crash and takes you a minute. So hopefully he will be all okay. We'll let you know as soon as we do. But this now then is the battle for the race win, and with such similar pace from these three guys so far, what's the incentive to play the chess they were playing a few minutes ago and let someone lead the way and try and cut that gap down? Very little, I think. Now we can see the gloves off a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely.
And these guys not so far behind either if they want to join this podium fight. They're back in the same camera shot.
And look at that, in the blink of an eye, Ozawa has gone from 20 points adrift to suddenly leading the cup standings as things stand by 4 points. How it can change so quickly in the Asia Talent Cup, and now it is gloves off in the fight for the lead. Mie, Wakamatsu, Thompson, 3 abreast into the opening corner, and Mie sweeps across the front wheel of Thompson to hit the front.
He does. It's that beautiful shot coming down the main straight. It looks like there's 2 motorcycles when there's actually 5. So tucked into the slipstream they were, but yeah, it's the Japanese rider then, the number 5, who is back in the lead and taking that back from Carter Thompson. Wakamatsu, we've not seen him play any hand really so far. The number 2 there with the yellow helmet in 3rd place. And as you can see from our very helpful graphics there on the left-hand side of your screen, that gap is coming down. So Pratama, it's about 7/10 come out of it in the last sort of lap and a bit. So they are on the march now, that little duo of Pratama and Ozawa. And there you go. So it was half a second on the last lap alone. So yeah, good stuff from them. And we did see Pratama really able to pull the pin once he was in the zone in Buriram. So let's see what he's got today, because 7 laps to go may not sound like much, but it's half race distance, more than, and is also a fair bit of, I was going to say kilometres, but that's not quite the correct grammar, is it? It's a fair bit of race distance still to go in this one, but Carter Thompson wants to lead it once again, and the number 6 back in the lead. Can he keep it? He can. So these guys then, already we've seen more moves in the last few laps since Danish crashed out than we had in the first when the Malaysian was leading. So let's see what they're going to do now, and if they know that that duo is on the way.
Absolutely, it's going to be a fascinating watch this over the next 7 laps. Thompson, Mie, Wakamatsu, all looking to take victory for the very first time in their Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup career.
Yeah, it's lots of pressure, isn't it, here for these guys? So let's see what they have got. But Veda Ega Pratama is getting closer and closer. A bit of Jaws music, I think, for the number 7. And these guys are fighting it out a little bit more. We've seen there's just immediate change of tactic at the front. It looks like Ozawa, though, does not have the legs to go with the number 7 ahead of him. So you can see the number 21, who'll just be coming, oh, we're changing the shot. I was just going to say, just be coming into the back of shot. But he will in a minute. He's just losing a bit of ground now. So 5th place though, although I'm sure he'd want the podium, I'm sure he'd want to be fighting for that win. 5th place, and those points is incredibly valuable with the former points leader, well, still the current points leader, Hakim Danish, crashing out of the lead.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the pace at the front has just dropped off, as can be expected, as they start to go toe-to-toe and tussle it out corner after corner. You can see there, Pratama, the man closing them down nearly half a second faster than the race leader last time around. Keep an eye on the number 7, just look at the momentum that he's gaining already. Through this opening split, is now less than 2 seconds adrift. Fantastic stuff from Pratama. He's coming. Yeah,
he definitely is. He's got the bit between his teeth, hasn't he? So let's see what he can do. I think there's time if he can keep up this pace and keep taking these big chunks of time out of this leading trio. But let's see. And let's see what these guys are going to do as well, because once he gets within a certain distance, I'm sure they'll want to try and give themselves the hurry up. But Rei Wakamatsu still not making a move. He's sat sat behind these two since the start of the race, and that breakaway from Danish as well. But yeah, the number 2 though, looking solid there, pretty chill and relaxed in 3rd place.
Yeah, at the moment, you can understand why Wakamatsu is just sat there, keeping his powder dry. He knows that there's a long way to go in this one, and actually, he can hold the aces coming across the line every time, unless there's some savvy men on pit wall letting both Mie and Thompson know that there is an Indonesian on the way to that lead group. Wakamatsu, of course, will be getting plus 2.5, plus 2.0. Next time round, it may well be plus 1.5. 2.1 the gap, as you can see there. At the moment, we've just a couple of corners to go on this lap.
He's done us dirty there after saying, oh, if he keeps this taking the gap down this much, but he hasn't on this lap. He's lost a little bit of tiny little bit of time there. You saw 8 thousandths, but Veda Egapratama still on the march here. Let's see what it will be over the whole lap once they cross the line this time. But yeah, not quite as what's the word that I'm looking for?
He's not making as
much progress as he had over the last few laps. So let's see what we have when we cross the line at this time. It has taken a few more tenths out though, so 1.8 then across the line. And once he gets within a certain distance to this group as well, he'll get a lot more slipstream from those 3 bikes punching a hole in the air. So let's see what he can do. But yeah, so far so good for Pratama in Operation Podium.
And that 2:19.035 is his personal best lap of the race as well. So he's pushing and he's down. Can you believe it? Yet more drama here in Sepang. The man we were singing the praises of, the man that we said was on a mission and closing in on our leading trio, has crashed out of this one. What's happened to Pratama? It's 1 corner later than where Hakim Danish went down. Turn number 2 catches out the Indonesian, and it won't be back-to-back victories for Veda Egapratama. Suddenly, we are down to 3 at the front. It is going to be a debut winner, but who will it be? Will it be Mie leading the way at the moment? Will it be Australia's Thompson, or will it be Japan's Wakamatsu?
Yeah, what drama then already in this race. We've seen Veda Egapratama then join Hakim Danish as a non-scorer in this race, and both after such incredible speed as well. So it's as you were in a lot of ways from a few laps ago. We've got this battle for the podium, these 3. Ezawa looks to have a very, very good day at the office in terms of the standings, if he can hold on to that 4th place, even though it isn't that podium. So yeah. At the moment, the Japanese rookie impressing just by staying on the bike and showing a bit more, what's the word? Maturity is probably a little bit harsh, but showing he can very much stay calm under pressure then, as a couple of mistakes from some key rivals.
I think maturity is the right word at the moment. We said it could well be a race of attrition in difficult conditions, and Ezawa knows how important in a championship it is to see the checkered flag, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment, shall we say. Let me not curse him there.
Yeah, we've not done well so far, have we? So maybe we should just verbally abuse the whole field, and then everything will turn out fine for everybody.
So 4 laps. 4 laps to go here in Sepang, and it's now Thompson that leads the way. Thompson and Mie have almost been exchanging roles at the front lap after lap. Meanwhile, Wakamatsu has yet to really show his cards. He's been very comfortable there in 3rd place. I'm sure as the laps tick down, we're going to start to see the number 2 in the back of your picture really get amongst it with Thompson and Mie. But at the moment, he's just happy, sat there watching where the guys ahead are faster and slower than him.
Yeah, especially when it is this smaller group, there's only 3 riders, you can afford to let those guys battle it out a bit. You can afford to sit there, because there's also now, after that unfortunate crash for Pratama, you're not under any pressure behind either. Oh, he did have a big look there, committed the cardinal sin, but still, the number 2 though, he can afford to sit there, because come the last lap of the race, he's not let 5, 6, 8 people ahead of him in trying to, you know, keep his powder dry, save tyre, whatever he's doing there in 3rd as he waits for the laps to tick down. He's just got the same target right ahead of him, and probably feeling a little bit calmer and fresher going into it as well.
I can't understand why he's looking over his shoulder there.
Surely, when you've got like a 5-second gap.
Surely he's just come across the line and seen plus 5 seconds.
I was going to say, I'd recommend, instead of looking over your shoulder, look at your pit board for the ATC.
If he did look over his shoulder, he's going to need binoculars to be able to see Ezawa behind, so he won't have gathered that much information. But anyway, now at least he knows Wakamatsu. Maybe he didn't believe the guy on pit wall, but now he knows for sure that he has got 5 seconds behind him, and he can concentrate on the guys ahead. Still Thompson that leads the way here as we go through turns 12 and 13 of this complex, this undulating Sepang International Circuit, in towards turn 14, one of the most important one on the circuit, certainly on the final lap as well, as you try and gather as much momentum as you possibly can do through that penultimate corner to slingshot your way down this monumental back straight to hopefully lead them into the braking zone here at the final corner.
Yeah, indeed. So we saw another look behind, that time from Carter Thompson. And I think, I don't know, depends on the exit from here, but no, I think that's given up just enough ground for Gunmei to make an attack here into turn 1. And we've got 3 to go then, including this one that they've just started. And is the number 6 going to hold the race lead? I think he is. He's on the inside line there and just shuts the door in Gunmei's face there. So good job from the Australian in this race so far, though. After a bit of an up and down, heartbreaking time in the ATC on many occasions for the number 6, with that first podium now, this is a great ride so far, looking pretty serene at the front.
And he doesn't seem fazed by the prospect of a debut victory as well. There are no jitters just yet from Carter Thompson. He's hit the front and he's held the lead for a couple of laps now, and he's very comfortable and assured at the front of this race as well.
Yeah, he is, and I just got an update as well on Hakeem Danish. So he's arrived in the medical centre, and we've got rider conscious, and he's able to walk. So they're just doing a general checkup on the Malaysian. So that's very good news, certainly. So we'll see. Hopefully he'll be all okay and fully okay, fit to race. And not in too much pain after that high side.
Absolutely, it does, from looking at the replay, as if he was potentially winded, slapped down with a real thud onto this Malaysian tarmac. So fingers crossed, with a couple of minutes to come back to his senses, he'll be good to go.
Have you ever been winded?
I have, yes.
I honestly, I thought it was over. I was a bit pathetic. So I have so much respect for the guys who have those crashes and then are able to get back out there and get back on track. I think we're just watching a cool replay here.
No, it is, yeah, just through the final corner. You could see...
Like, did I miss drama? No.
You could just see the ripples into the braking zone as he just flick it left and start to bank it into the final corner. It's caught many, many riders far more experienced than these guys at the front out, not only this weekend, but weekends previous as well. It's a very tricky braking zone. You're coming down at such a high rate of knots. 6 gear, flat chart, hard on the brakes. Very easy for the front end to fold there if you're not too careful. But so far, these guys have got it under control. You can see the chatter on the front of Thompson's machine once more there, but he manages to keep it in line, under control, and fire it out to the final corner to make sure that he's the man that leads the way, with now just 2 laps remaining.
There are indeed, sir. And the number 6 is able to stay ahead over the line as well. It was close, but he's managed to stay ahead over the line. So that's always an interesting experiment, and it looks like Rei Wakamatsu's experiment in being 3rd in this race is also over.
It's come to an end. Wakamatsu has come to the party. We thought he would do. He's waited until 2 laps remaining to pounce, and now we get to see the real potential of the 16-year-old Japanese rider. He feels that he can win the race from this point, maybe break clear of Thompson and Mie behind, but I'm sure both the Japanese rider and the Australian in 2nd and 3rd will have something to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that he's gone for that on the penultimate lap as well, rather than the last lap. But let's see what he's got then, because he's definitely looked pretty cool and collected in 3rd place. And he may well think he's got a bit of pace to break away. And he's got the whole lap to do it as well before he has to fend them off on the slipstream. But Gunmei at the moment, though, absolutely tagged to the back of him.
He is, but Wakamatsu is pushing at the front. Carter Thompson at the moment, it looks like, just struggling to stay with the 2 Japanese riders, and that's a clear indication of how hard Wakamatsu is pushing. Wide out of turn 8, giving an opportunity for Mie to slip through and retake control of this race on the run down towards turn 9.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's closer than it's been then this whole race between these 3 at the moment. And yeah, Wakamatsu then looked like he did have a little bit of pace in hand, certainly over Thompson, but then heading wide there as they're putting back into 2nd place. Mie's back past. Let's see what we've got then. Is he going to try it again, or is he now going to wait for that end of that final lap?
This fight for victory is sparked into life here. Suddenly, you can just tell by the way that they're riding, there's real urgency from all three riders at the front of this one. We're down the back straight for the penultimate time, and it's Mie that leads from Wakamatsu, from Thompson. Let me remind you, one of these three men is about to take victory in the Asia Talent Cup for the very first time. This is a dress rehearsal of one lap later, and so far, that looks as though Mie has got it under control. He was hard on the brakes, he gets it stopped, clips the apex. That's good stuff from Mie. If he can do that one lap later in about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, then victory will be his.
Yeah, it will indeed. So nicely done then from the number 5. But who is going to emerge then from turn 1 for the final time in the race lead? It looks like it's going to be Carter Thompson. So nicely done from the number 6. Can he keep it around here? I think he can. Yeah, very nicely done. Now then, it's Operation Close the Door behind you. Let's see what we're going to get from the guys on the chase.
First opportunity for these guys to try and retaliate here. Through turn number 3, on the run up towards turn 4. A big rise, a big crest at the top. Mie on the inside. Can he slip through? No, he can't. It's Thompson that still leads the way.
Yeah, good stuff from the Australian then. Pretty cool under pressure. It's interesting that he chose to strike when he did at turn 1.
And Wakamatsu has just looked over his shoulder on the exit of turn 4 there. I cannot believe it, on the final lap, and almost lost touch with these guys in front of him. What is he doing?
Yeah, that's an interesting decision there, isn't it, from the number 2, and it looks like it has cost him a fair few metres as well. At the moment, this is a duel between these two, but Wakamatsu there, though, making up a few of them and tagging back onto the rear of the number 5 of Gunmie. But what have we got then? Thompson really close there, but no, all nice and well done from the Australian, and then keeps it. Yeah, it's just looking pretty calm at the moment, but Gunmie for sure is going to have a go.
He was very defensive there, was Thompson. Turn 9, a key point of this circuit. He managed to close the door, forcing Mie to try and look around the outside, but no way through. Time is running out now for Gunmie. You've got to look at the final corner, surely. That's going to be his best opportunity. Maybe he could slip it through up the inside into turn 14. He's not going to. All three of them are there now. This is it. The final run down to the final corner. Thompson leads the way from Mie and Wakamatsu, all three buried beneath the bubble. It's going to be one of them who's going to come out in front. Look at Thompson hugging the white line on the left-hand side of the track to be as defensive as possible, and Mie swoops around the outside. Brilliant from the Japanese rider. He doesn't get it stopped though. He goes wide. Thompson swings through, and surely it's going to be the Australian that takes victory for the very first time in the Asia Talent Cup. Carter Thompson does it here in race 1 at Sepang from Wakamatsu and Gunmie. A brilliant ride from all three. Mie in the back of the shot, incredibly frustrated to make that error into the final corner. Oh, what a finale that was, Fran.
And if he'd not gone quite that long, that's exactly what the corner's designed for. But just a little bit too keen there from Gunmie, but very glad that he had a go. And a great race then for the win here. And Carter Thompson, that must feel pretty sweet. Like we said, it's been a bit of a roller coaster at times for the Australian in the ATC, but absolutely fantastic. That fully deserved. Just did a great job. Definitely the best job of those three today. Judged it very well. Yep, you won.
Just letting everyone know.
Just FYI, guys.
I've won, guys.
I've won that one. But no, great race from Wakamatsu though as well to take that podium. Good stuff from him. And Gunmie there, it's always better to have a go, isn't it? And it may not be the win, and it may now be third rather than the second step, but still fighting it out for that podium, and another quality ride from the Japanese rider. He
will be incredibly frustrated, will Gunmie. Now that's now 10 podiums in the Asia Talent Cup without having taken victory.
The Shoan Zarko of the ATC.
And because of that, you can understand his
You've
frustration.
got to go for it though, haven't you? You've got to go for it, and yeah, he will feel frustrated, but it's not for lack of trying, is it? And I'm very sure it's a very high caliber of rider, so I'm very sure he will be on that top step at some point in the ATC. But yeah, not today, not in race 1 on Saturday. But plenty learnt, I'm sure, before we head back out for race 2 on Sunday. And look at that standings as well. That's a good few points for him. Ahead of Azawa, who is just behind. And with Danish not able to score, that's a fairly good recovery job in terms of the points after some fairly big mistakes from Gunmie at times this year, amongst some races that have been super, super impressive. So yeah, if he can iron those out, definitely a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. On my early mathematics, I think now just 27 points adrift of the championship lead. So he has cut it down by a decent enough margin, only 3 points in the end. I'm sure he will have been hoping to maybe take a bigger bite out of now Shinya Izawa's championship lead. Let's not forget that 4th place for Izawa, good enough for him to move to the summit of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup.
Speaking of Japanese rookies as well, Eamon Adaki did move through from a really difficult qualifying. He did come to the front of that group fighting it out. There's a fair gap behind Izawa to that field there battling it out, but yeah, it was Adaki who crossed the line in 5th in that group, so at least some solid points and some track knowledge.
Well done to Eamon Adaki, my second favourite Eamon behind Eamon Holmes. Done a brilliant job there.
Your second favourite?
Well, if he gets on the podium tomorrow, he'll become my favourite.
I'd like to go on the record and say that Eamon Adaki is much better than Eamon Holmes.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first.
But yeah, so good salvage job. If you've not quite got the pace, take that 5th place and make sure you maximise what you are able to achieve. And Nicholas, great ride, then taking 6th in the end, the Australian, after starting from the very back after a penalty for almost more a behavioural and safety thing rather than something on track. He just crossed a bit of the track that he wasn't supposed to when he crashed. And then we've got Hafi Al Sahuti getting some solid points, but not what he would have wanted after having some fair few podium charges now, the Qatari rider. And then we've got Fadilla, Trihardika and Putra in another close trio there.
Well, plenty of reasons for Aussie motorcycle fans to be excited. Of course, in MotoGP at the moment, Jack Miller and Remy Gardner fighting it out. Plenty of young talents coming through as well. Joel Kelso in Moto3, Senna Agius bound to be in Moto2 at some point in the future. Harry Voigt going incredibly well in the Junior World Championship and in the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well. But we can now add another name to that list as well. The 14-year-old Carter Thompson, at long last, an Asia Talent Cup winner, and this is how he did it, Fran.
It is, so nicely done, taken over, and from there it was more, just about shutting the door, defending that lead once he'd taken it. And Gunmie tried his best, didn't he, with that final corner attack. But once the number 6 was through, he managed to hold on to that. I hope we do see the final corner.
I mean,
come on, replay.
Surely we will. Here we
go. So Mie went round the outside, but just overcooks it there. The number 5 heading far from the apex, and Carter Thompson cuts back through. Nicely done.
Absolutely, very nicely done indeed. The number 6, not knowing if there was going to be any threat coming from behind, was absolutely buried there. I'm sure praying that he could reach that checkered flag ahead of everyone else.
Absolutely.
And then there will have been euphoric release as he realised he's taken victory.
You say that, but it's just a thumbs up. Yeah. I enjoy that. That's less than you see from Jack Miller before he starts the race.
Good stuff from Carter Thompson. The 14-year-old from Newcastle will be celebrating in Parc Ferme with family, I imagine. There he is, the number 1. He's already shown that to everyone else on that cool down lap, letting everyone know that, yep, I've done it, I've won the race.
Here we go then. Let's see, trying to look for any famous faces down in Parc Ferme. Can't see too many special guests at the moment.
Now we can see, of course, our top 3 men in this race.
So, good stuff then, nice little handshake row here.
The debriefs already commence. Everyone pretty pleased with their work, despite the guys at 2nd and 3rd, Wakamatsu and Mie. I'm sure when they get back to the hotel this evening thinking, oh, if I'd have done that differently, what could have been? But I'm sure they'll be pleased with a little bit of silverware that they'll be picking up shortly. Official confirmation of the results then, and for the first time in his young career, Carter Thompson is an Asia Talent Cup race winner. and he did it brilliantly at the final corner, 2 times clear of Rei Wakamatsu. Meanwhile, Gun Mie's wait for an ATC podium continues in 3rd. That could be the most important 4th place finish of Shinya Izawa's young career as well, the Japanese rider moving to the top of the ATC standings as a result of that one. Good rides further back from Eamon Adaki and of course from Marionis Nicholas in 5th and 6th. Top 10 taken there by Indonesia's very own Deandra Tikadika. Meanwhile, the important non-finishers there, Veda Ega Pratama, his charge towards victory coming to an end with 4 laps remaining. And the championship leader, Hakim Danish, despite being 1.5 seconds clear, hitting the deck at the opening corner, and as a result, slips 6 points adrift of Shinya Izawa in the fight to be crowned our 2022 champion. Gun Mie, well, it's been a good weekend for him so far. He's creeping into contention with 3 races remaining, now only 27 adrift of his compatriot. Meanwhile, further back, you do feel it's going to be a tough ask now for the likes of Hamad Al-Sahuti in 4th. 51 points back with only 75 on the table. I think we can safely say, Fran, that the fight to be crowned champion in 2022 as a result of this one has been whittled down to 3 men, Izawa, Danish and Mie.
Yeah, I think that's safe enough to say for sure. So yeah, like we said, now 75 points remaining. There's 1 round after this one. That's alongside World SBK back at Mandalika, or as they say at Mandalika, and I think correctly, unfortunately for us. But yeah, some great racing once again today, and it's pretty close despite all the drama.
There's Carla Campo on the left of your shot, just organising the podium. Does a brilliant job of that, making sure that everyone is in the right place at the right time. And I'm sure she'll be getting the riders properly organised as well ahead of the podium ceremony here in Sepang. Don't forget, join us tomorrow. Bumper day of action. 3 Grand Prix races coming your way with 2 titles potentially being decided. Before all of that, though, it's Asia Talent Cup action. You can join us at Fran. You're better organised than me. What time are we on air?
I think we're on air 10 minutes before the race starts at 9 AM local time.
Fantastic. Well done, Fran. I'll be there now. I thought it was a little bit later than that. I'm going to have to set my alarm differently now.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a painful one, I think, in the morning.
Don't worry.
Mainly because once I'm going. But commentating first, because I don't do as much of it as your good self. Don't talk so much, mainly a writer. It's hard in the early morning to come out there and bring your A game.
Well, my tip is coffee.
I already partake in that tip to such a degree that people worry about my health. So we'll see.
Well, hope you're okay.
I'll start at 4 or 5 AM so I can work up to it.
Not sure I'd advise that, but anyway. So the wait goes on. Come on, guys. Let's get out on the podium.
Everyone's absolutely loving the coffee chat. Maybe we should... yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's some delay here for whatever reason.
There must be, yeah. Hopefully it is purely
maybe it's
some sort of logistical little issue that's going on and nothing to do with our race results. I've certainly seen nothing come up for us on the timing screens about that at all, and we didn't see anything, I don't think, on track either. No, it all seemed very, very clean and tidy. Some aggressive moves in there, but all within race regulation, you would have to say. Hard but fair, which is what we like to see between the top 3. They were bar bashing, elbow bashing at times, trying to get track position, but never stepped over the line, which is good stuff. It is indeed. So here we go then. I see a rider. Who's it going to be?
As we talk through our top 3, an interesting top 3 as well. It's going to be a 5th podium of the year for Gun Mie, the man 3rd in the championship, now 3rd on the podium as well, as he potentially, if the likes of Izawa and Danish continue to have off days, could do an Emilio Alzamora and win this championship without having won a race. Potentially now with 3 races to go, it's definitely on the cards. Mie, not particularly over the moon, you have to say, as he trudges his way towards 3rd place on the podium. A slightly more ecstatic Rei Wakamatsu jumps onto the podium for the first time in 2022. And this man, there's some enthusiasm about him, and for good reason as well. Onto the top step for the very first time, 14-year-old Carter Thompson is an Asia Talent Cup winner.
He is indeed. So third place trophy then to Gunmie. Oh, he doesn't look too disappointed with that one.
I'm not sure it's the most enthusiastic.
I don't know. We've seen some real. They leave their emotions out there in the ATC and the NTC. To be honest, but yeah, and then the winner's trophy then for Carter Thompson. So congratulations to the number 6, great race. Now we get to listen to the Australian national anthem in a minute as well, don't we?
We absolutely do. He's going to treasure this moment, the Australian national anthem, ringing out for the first time for Carter Thompson. The Australian national anthem ringing out loud and proud here in Malaysia for Carter Thompson. Victory number 1. And I'm sure over the coming years there's going to be plenty more coming the way of the talented Aussie. Photos commencing on the front of the podium with the Sepang International Circuit representative there, front and centre. Come on, out the way, son. Let's have a photo of the main men, the men that have done all the work out there. And this is how it happened then. Fired away from pole position in absolutely magnificent style. But then he was put under real pressure and eventually passed by our championship leader, Hakim Danish,
at the
firing
time
through. He was the championship leader at the time with this smooth move into turn 4, swung through effortlessly. And at this point it looked as though the Malaysian was going to romp clear towards what would have been a rather special victory on home soil. 1.5 seconds clear without being put under too much pressure. It was all going the way of the championship leader. We had a look at the live championship standings as well, and the Malaysian was over 20 points clear at that point. A couple of moments on the front end as he tried to get it stopped before finally he was spat over the top, whacking down onto the tarmac. We thought that Veda Pratama was going to drag himself into contention late on. Before then he crashed out at turn 2 and into the final corner. Gunmie swooped around the outside and hoped to get it stopped, ran wide, and Thompson, the ultimate opportunist, dived back under the inside and dragged towards the checkered flag before letting everybody know that yes, I'm the victor for the very first time. A big thumbs up just to put the cherry on top of the cake.